This rinky-dink YouTube system. I'm pushing play, nothing's happening. Play here. Play it, dude. Especially for the ancient tradition, we can expect that the church fathers actually had information that is not available to us, by virtue of how close they were to the events themselves, give or take 100 years. The tradition. Following are the most important church fathers with respect to the authorship and dating of the New Testament. For the most part, the uncredited author says, I will quote only these unless the record is thin or conflicting. And again, this is at systematicchristianity.org. The first authority, Papias. I hope I'm saying that right. Late 1st century, mid 2nd century. So, late 1st century, 75 to mid 2nd century, 150, 75 AD to 150 AD maybe. And since Christ died at about the age of 30, that would be beginning 45 years after his ascension. Papias wrote a 5-book series, Interpretations of the Sayings of the Lord, which have now been lost, except for quotations in later books, which are referred to as the fragments of Papias. The next in line is the Muratonian fragment, circa AD 170. It's not a church father, but a document. It's one of the oldest lists of the books of the New Testament. The document itself is in bad shape, so for the most part it is difficult to interpret the absence of a particular book from the list. A book being on the list is a fair indication that it was in widespread use, however. It is dated because the author refers to the recent episcopate of Pius I in Rome, who died in AD 157. So it says here, the author refers to the recent episcopate of Pius I of Rome, who died in AD 157. The recent episcopate. I guess he means the end of the episcopate. And since he died in 157, they put it 13 years later, I guess. Next in line, Irenaeus, circa AD 130 to 202. He was a bishop of Lyon. His preserved writings argue primarily against the Gnostics, a heretical splinter group. Because of the theme of his writing, he spent more time discussing sources than most writers of his era. Next up is Clement of Alexandria, circa 150 AD to 213. He was the head of a catechetical school in Alexandria. Catechism, right? Catechetical school. He should not be confused with Clement of Rome, one of the first popes. That's Clement of Alexandria. Then comes Tertullian, AD 160 to 225. He was primarily a writer of which many works are preserved. He converted to Christianity in middle life, but split away from the main church late in life, largely because the church was not strict enough to suit him. Origen, probably Oregon, circa AD, circa means approximately, circa AD 185 to 253. He was the head of a catechetical school in Alexandria after Clement. He left there as a result of a conflict, more political than theological, with a local bishop, and he founded a new school in Caesarea. Next comes Eusebius, AD 263 to 339. He was bishop of Caesarea and the first true church historian. He preserved much of the tradition that would have been lost otherwise. Next up is Jerome, AD 347 to 419. He was a priest and an ascetic who moved frequently and wrote on many topics relevant to the church. He was the primary creator of the Vulgate, a key Latin translation of the Bible from Greek and Hebrew sources. And finally, we have Augustine, AD 354 to 430. Augustine was a convert to Christianity and became Bishop of Hippo. He was one of the great theologians of the church, and he also reported on historical details. In his time, and largely under the influence of Jerome and Augustine, there are several councils that ratified the contents of the current Roman Catholic Bible. As such, this is a natural time to end the discussion of the tradition. MacLeod just arrived. You're not too late, MacLeod. You're just in time to suffer a few more minutes of really bad audio, then we're going to have some really good audio for you, pal. This YouTube system is horrible. Play it, dude. Am I on the air? No way for me to tell at this point. Am I here? Can anybody see me? Boy, this YouTube system is horrible for going live with Premiere. Just horrible.